Fiber Thrivers, Authentically Me, Regina V is back with another video. How are you? I hope you've been well. I hope you've been in good health, and I truly mean that. If you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where I go through therapy workbooks. I share my journey with you in hopes to inspire you to embark upon your own healing journey, or to invest in some therapy workbooks, or to potentially invest in finding a therapist. If you are not new, thank you so much for joining me again. I greatly appreciate your love and your support and your views. It keeps me motivated and encouraging to continue on this journey of healing with you with the channel. Let's get into it. For those of you that are new, we are going back through the original workbook that I started with It's Not You, It's Them, 30 Days of Hope and Help for the Adult Child of a Narcissist Parent. So let's get into it. I just actually uploaded day 18 yesterday. Today is Wednesday, October 9th. Today is Thursday, October 19th. The days are getting away from me, and we are actually on day 19. So let's get into it. Things have been a little bit busy. We just had my 5-year-old's birthday party on Sunday, which was her actual birthday, October 15th. So that was really fun, but it's so hectic. Like, we took some of our neighbors with us, and then they came back and they had fun. So it's been a little busy this month, but busy in a good way. So let's get to it. Where is it? Here's day 19. It says, giving myself what I missed. I don't like it when you disappoint me. Narcissistic father to therapy client. The flow of nurture in a healthy parent-child relationship is from adult to child. In a narcissistic parent relationship, this is often backwards. The child is made to feel responsible for the parent's emotional well-being. Make me proud is a common statement. Or the parent may take their bed with great flourish, or the parent may take to their bed with great flourish, requiring the scapegoat child to assume the role of nurse or that of raising their younger siblings. Many of my scapegoat clients have reported the scenario. Children of alcoholics or drug addicts find themselves in a reverse nurture flow as well, cleaning up after and covering for the addicted parent. It also happens, in parentheses, more than you would imagine, that a sibling dies or is handicapped in some fashion, leaving the grieving parents to turn their anger about the situation onto the remaining child and making them the scapegoat for their emotions. All of these scenarios make the scapegoat hypersensitive to the feelings of others, which carries a feeling of responsibility for their happiness as well. Again, well said, Debbie. My thoughts on this: in my experience, the flow of nurture and nature was definitely opposite. My behavior, whether I was good or bad, a lot of times did dictate how our relationship would go. Whether she'd be mad at me, whether she would show me love and affection, or whether she would give me the silent treatment or berate me, or even, hit me or something like that. So I was never made to look after her, as far as her being sick and me having to be her nurse. Never had to experience that. Never had to clean up after. I mean, I had to do chores, but not, cleaning up after her. Thankfully, I don't have any siblings that have passed away, and I don't have any that are handicapped. But I will say, when she ends this with all these scenarios make the scapegoat hypersensitive to the feelings of others, which carries a feeling of responsibility for their happiness as well. That is so true. I am very hypersensitive to the feelings of others. A lot of people call themselves empath, which that's another term for being hypersensitive to the feelings of others. And I do believe, for me, that is a result of the childhood trauma that I experienced. Just being able to read a room very quickly, being able to read faces very quickly, being able to listen to tone, being able to sense the vibe. That's just a defense mechanism that was developed in my childhood to protect myself, because I never knew what emotion was going to come out. So that was just something that was used to protect myself as a child. And now as an adult, I am hypersensitive to it. I think it's a little bit of a superpower, but it needs to be in balance. I think that we shouldn't base our happiness on the feelings of others. I also feel like we can acknowledge, we can read the room, we can see people's feelings, but other people's feelings are not our responsibility. And it's throughout this journey that I really had to learn that, and I'm teaching my children that. How other people feel, it's not your responsibility. You can't make anyone happy, you can't make anyone sad. It's them choosing to decide whether they want to be happy or sad about a situation, or even if it's something you've said. So being hypersensitive to the feelings of others is a superpower. It's something that you can use to protect yourself, but it needs to be in balance, and it does not need to be at the expense of your own happiness, of your own feelings, or dictate whether you go after something or you don't go after something. So that's my thoughts on that. So it says affirmation: I now hand back to others the responsibility for their own happiness. I let go of worries and concerns and trust them to handle their own lives as adults should. I stop advising, fixing, and directing them and focus on myself and my own happiness. That's a big affirmation today. Let's say it again. We say it 3 times. Affirmation: I now hand back to others the responsibility for their own happiness. I let go of worries and concerns and trust them to handle their own lives as adults should. I stop advising, fixing, and directing them and focus on myself and my own happiness instead. Last and final time. I hand back to others the responsibility for their happiness. I let go of worries and concerns and trust them to handle their own lives as adults should. I stop advising, fixing, and directing them and focus on myself and my own happiness. Yes, when she says I hand back, like I imagine a baton, and somebody passed me a baton to a race that I never signed up for, to a relay race that I never wanted to be a part of. So you can take your feelings and you can take your happiness and you can be in charge of them. And I'm going to be in charge of running my race, of making sure I do the things that make me happy and that make my family happy. I'm not fixing, advising, or directing anyone because we are all adults. And I actually got to just practice this. So about a week ago, my oldest sister told me that she was moving out of town. And I was like, okay, which she had been saying that she was, but I just was kind of like, okay, she's really moving. And so I said, okay, let's get together before you go away. It's my sister and I love her. And I'm like, we haven't seen each other in a while. Let's sit down, have a lunch. And I really wanted to get more information about her move. And it's like she told me all the things that she had set up in place, all the things that she was needing to do for the weekend to get, all packed away and all moved. And she's driving down there by herself. And the little sister in me wanted to be like, are you sure? Is this the right thing you want to do? Kind of be that old version of myself. And I didn't. I just said, that's really, really awesome. She's 45. I will be 41. We are grown. We are adults. And she deserves to step out and travel and do whatever she wants to do or whatever she thinks is best. Obviously, she's thought this through and she doesn't need me to advise, to fix, or direct. And so I really kept myself in check and just let her tell me about, all the things that she's done leading up to it. The fact that she's traveled there, she got a job interview, she has a job, she has a place she has a place to stay already locked in. And so, this really goes along with affirming my decision yesterday to not, ask too many questions, to not give any advice, give any direction, and just to enjoy lunch with her and enjoy her telling me about her journey into a new voyage in her life. So Yeah, but my happiness is my own, and I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness. Thank God. So let's go. Journal to heal, letting go of my responsibility for others. List each adult whom you find yourself worrying about, advising, or getting frustrated with about their life choices, or otherwise taking responsibility for. Then, after each name, write this statement: blank, I hand the responsibility for your life back to you. And she has different places that you can put different people's names. And let's see. List each adult whom you find yourself worrying about, advising, or getting frustrated with about their life choices. I honestly have to say, guys, nobody. Like, even after yesterday, I realized, like, nobody. Besides my son, besides my children, that's all natural. But yeah, worrying about, advising, or getting frustrated about their life choices, otherwise taking responsibility for them, and then, nobody. I'm interested to go back to 2 years ago and see who I listed when I did this journey back then. But right now, I don't feel like I need to advise anybody or be frustrated about anybody's life choices. Our journey is our own, our path is our own. We can only be who we are, and it's not for me to get frustrated about people's life choices or take responsibility for it all. Like, I got enough in my own life to take responsibility for instead of putting that baggage onto myself. So yeah, nobody that I can think of. And yesterday was such a rewarding experience to go to lunch with my sister. We didn't, talk about my mom or anything like that. And what I realized is we went to lunch in an area where I actually grew up. And so I had to drive by the complex that I lived in with my mom. And so I hadn't been in the area in years. And so I was just looking around like, wow, it looks really different or whatever. And she was telling me about her son, and she was like, oh, my son lives in the apartment complex that mama used to live in. And she was like, but he has an older unit. And she just was like, and I think, her unit was so old that they were just not willing to make any updates for her. So she moved along. She said, but her son is having a great experience. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I told her, I said, well, I knew that he lived over there because when he gave me his address, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the apartment complex, duplex, townhouse that, I grew up in, that not stayed in or whatever. And so something hit me, guys. And what hit me was that I already knew it, but it impacted me so differently. And I just had this realization of like, she has no intention of reaching out to me. And so I was like, wow. And it was like this relief and this realization of, you had been wondering, even hoping, even worrying about the moment that she reached out to me or called me. And the little girl inside of me that wants her to reach out. And I realized yesterday she has no intention of that. Like, that's not something I need to hope for or worry about or expect. And the second realization was like, it's all on me. And I knew that, and I know you guys are like, yeah, we know, we've been watching the videos, for those of you who have, because again, you guys know, and for those of you that don't, I have always been the fixer, the healer, the mender, the reaching out of, and so it was like, it's all on me. And the power is mine. And I'm not going to. And I released myself from that hope, that underlying hope that was in there, that has always been there when these situations have happened in the past, of the silent treatment and the ghosting, of like her reaching out to me, which is something I think I've always wanted. And now I realize she genuinely has no intention of reaching out to me. She genuinely expects me. It's all on me. And I don't accept that, because it's not all on me. And it's not all on my children either. And so I don't know, it just released this, I don't know, it just released me. And it felt like a releasing. And like I've been moving through my day so much freer and so much more confident, so much more complete. And, you know, I had my run earlier. It was great. I just put into practice focusing on my breathing, focusing on the music, listening to, you know, the guided run that I decided to do. But yeah, I don't know if there's anybody out there that needs to hear this, but let go of any hope or any worry or any fear that your narcissist parent is going to come to you. Hope in God. He is a great foundation to put your hope in. He is faithful. He doesn't change. He loves you no matter what. He knows who you are, the real you, and he calls you worthy. But as far as putting your hope in people, having these high expectations, well, they are my parent, well, they are my mother, well, they are my father, and accept people for who they are. And it wasn't until I was like, oh, in the last however many years, you know, she's moved. Because, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, she was still living there before, you know, the silent treatment and me deciding to be no contact. So she's moved on with her life, as have I. But now it's like the realization of, I don't have to hope that she's going to reach out to me. And if the power is all mine, and there's no inkling, no revelation from God that he's wanting me to reach out to her. Because listen, I love the Lord. He heard my cry. So if I felt something where I felt like he was like, reach out to your mom, call your mom, I would do it. But I don't. I genuinely don't. I don't. People's rejection is God's protection. And that's just the reality. It doesn't matter who it is. And I'm on a completely different journey now. And I wouldn't go back or change it or redirect myself for anyone in this life. You got one life to live. One. Use it following your heart and finding your path and finding your journey, and release yourself from expectations, from people's life choices, from taking responsibility for things that are not yours to take responsibility for. And go out and get after whatever your get after is, if you're able to get after it. I hope that blesses you, that encourages you, that gives you that extra motivation to do something that you've been longing to do, whether it's something in your healing journey, whether it's something in your creative life, whether it's something in your school life or in your work life. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Trust and believe. If I can do it, you can do it. And just a quick, short little update. My personal training journey my career is going really, really great. I continue to get new clients. I'm continuing to build. I'm continuing to grow. I'm going to be substituting for one of the yoga instructors next week. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be one of the evening classes, which, you know, has more attendees. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I'm just continuing on my journey, as should you. I love you. God loves you so much more. Peace.